So you've got a Miami, the U versus the Oregon
taking on
Ducks
Oregon
in the Natty. Yes.
And how does this one play out? Let's see. Where does your U love? Does it stop right here?
It stops here is where that stops. That's where I get off the train.
All right, so this was absolutely blasphemous. And I hate that he's a former Seminole, and it just drives me crazy because like some of this dude's takes are just like outlandish. And I know Khalid's got a lot to say, so me and Sori are going to hit this one up first, and we'll let him knock this out the park at the end. Oregon.
I will keep it. I was about to say, I'll go first. I'm going to keep it short and sweet.
Well, hold on. Danny Cannell said Oregon is going to beat Miami in the college football championship. And this was his bold prediction. And of course they will. But having Miami in your college football championship, even SMU got disrespected today. But go ahead, Sor. Nasty work.
Well, and it's exactly that. You know, we talked about it a little bit on the college football show. But yeah, if this scenario somehow happens, yes, absolutely, Oregon is the better team in every way, shape, and form. You're not gonna be able to do nothing but run slant routes on Dan Lanning. Yes, Restrepo can do more, but that's basically the bread and butter with your quarterback of Cam Ward. You know, and to quote, I forget exactly what it was Jim Nagy was, but basically you don't just become a first rounder from a fifth rounder out of nowhere, you know? It doesn't exactly happen. And again, we look at like who all they have faced. You know, who all really has Cam Ward faced? We talked about Florida. Florida's ass. Florida's fine with just being not even mediocrity. We're worse than that.
Oh, yeah.
You look at Ball State, you look at Louisville. You look at like the 4 games that you struggled with. You lost one of them. 2 of them you probably should have lost because of officiating. You struggled against Cal.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon's toughest opponent, or Oregon's, what's his face? 2 toughest opponents so far that they have faced have been Boise State. It was a close game. It was week 2. It was late at night. You're facing potential Heisman winner Ashton Jeanty. Then you face Ohio State. And that came down to the wire. These guys have played competition. Miami has played ass. And worse. Listen, no disrespect to like Restrepo and them, but like Oregon has the way better schedule, and there's so many more teams. There's so many. Did he show the bracket? Did he show like the bracket of how Miami got to the finals? Because I want to see who he had Miami beating.
I'm sure it's out there somewhere. I don't really care to look at what his bracket is after he said something blasphemous like this.
No, that's fair. I just want to see what teams like, you know, if Alabama, is Miami beating Alabama? I'm asking.
Oh no, he did have. I did see. I think he did have SMU as his ACC champion. So I'll give him credit for that.
So even then, he doesn't have them. He has them not even in the first round bye week. He has them going from the wild card.
I think what I saw from his bracket was they were the 10th seed, going all the way through.
So they lose to SMU in the ACC championship game. This was obviously before the Georgia Tech, or was it? When was it? Was this after the Georgia Tech loss?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so right there you got.
He literally said it today.
Losses off the bat. Yeah. Okay, so you've admit that they've lost to SMU. So now you have to worry about all the potential wild card teams. So let's go through here. Ole Miss, are they beating them? Yes or no?
Ole Miss? No.
Yes. Tennessee, yes or no?
No.
Alabama, yes or no?
No.
Indiana, yes or no?
No.
Ohio State, yes or no?
No.
If they face Oregon before this hypothetical championship, yes or no?
No.
BYU.
I think they could beat BYU.
BYU's.
I think it'd be a good game.
But okay, so rather than go through all that, we can pretty much all agree.
Okay,
majority of the
so here it
teams
is.
We're going to say no to.
I found it. So he has Miami and Penn State matching up. Penn State's defense alone is going to win them that game. Yeah, Penn State beats them, but then he has them beating them. Then he also has Miami beating BYU.
I could see that.
I could see that.
But then they have to play. So with the next, hold on, I'm confused. So then they would have to play the winner of SMU and Ohio State.
They lose both.
Either
games.
way, they'd lose both of them.
Yeah.
Especially if SMU already beat them. Like it.
And then if you really want to say this, I know he has Oregon beating those teams, but the teams that they would have to either go against would be Texas, Oregon, Indiana, and Tennessee, and they get smashed by all four of them. Mm-hmm. So what's the point of saying Miami's in your championship if they're just going to get smashed?
Here's his semifinal. Number 1 Oregon versus number 5 Indiana. And then on the other side is number 6 Ohio State versus number 10 Miami. Miami is not beating Ohio State. Let's just get that settled in straight right now. That's not happening. There ain't a snowball's chance in hell.
Yeah.
No, they're not. It's not even going to be close.
Yeah. It's nasty
Basically,
work.
long story short, oh hell no.
Yeah. Here's the thing. When you're looking at the statistics of everything, yes. Are they number 1 in points? And I'm talking about Miami. Yes. Are they number 1 in yards per game? Yes. Are they number 1 in yards per play? Yes. Are they number 1 in third down conversion? Absolutely. Are they number 3 in points per play? Yes. Number 10 in fourth down conversion. Like but they are terrible as far as penalties are concerned. They are. They rank some of the lowest in college football. And when you look at their defense outside of rush defense, their passing defense is terrible. So you're telling me that out of all the teams that they're going to go against, that their defense is going to keep them afloat? No, I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell that they beat any of these offenses. Because out of everything, I don't think they stopped Jalen Milroe by himself. Jalen Milroe is going against SEC teams, and Miami is barely escaping Cal. Barely escaping, or getting beat this past weekend, and letting Florida State put up 14 points, barely escaping Virginia Tech.
Before Georgia Tech, I believe, wasn't it like that was the most points that they gave up?
Yeah, and most of these
FSU?
And most of these offenses, no, they only gave up 14 points.
Oh, but I forget who it was then.
But it's just embarrassing that you let Florida State put 14 points up on you, with a third string quarterback at that. But the whole point is like, if Georgia Tech can beat you with just their defense alone, because let's be honest, they were able to do one thing: stop the zone where the slants were going. You put pressure on Cam Ward. That's what they did the whole game. Let's not act like, and Jamal Haynes got knocked out in the first quarter of that game.
They're like their 4th string running back.
And they had a dual quarterback system. So you're acting
Haynes
like
King threw like 30 yards.
Penn State on their worst day is better than Georgia Tech's offense. Let's stop the cap. Two good running backs. Drew Allard, Tyler Warren. And then their defense just shuts them completely down. So literally, you're asking Penn State to put up 7 points to win the game. They'll definitely do that if it really came down to it. Torque makes a good point. Who wins a Miami versus Boise State playoff game?
Boise
State had a close competition with the best team in the country in Oregon.
I'm about to say, yeah, that was week 2. So.
And Maddox, again, people underestimate Maddox Madsen.
He didn't have a good game that game against Oregon, but I guarantee you if they played Nat well.
That boy been cooking. They've been cooking.
I guarantee you if they played now, then yes.
What we're trying to say is this is nasty work.
This is blasphemy. Blasphemous.
All right.
Go on, Clay.
To what has been said, Oregon beating Miami in the Natty. No. Oregon? Yes. Oregon and Natty? Also, yes. Oregon winning Natty? Yes.
I had
Miami. Okay, Miami. Miami and in Natty? No. Miami winning that natty. No. Miami has faced 3. All right, that's the key number here. 3 top 50 defenses all year. 3 top 50 defenses. Cal, Georgia Tech, and Duke. I credit them for beating Duke. It was a thorough beating.
It really was.
And Duke, I'm a little bit higher on Duke than I guess some. I think that was a great win. I give them credit for coming back and beating Cal, right? Impressive, showed grit. But then Georgia Tech, the other top 50 defense they played this year, they face a tough, gritty, run-first Georgia Tech team in Atlanta, which is not a very hard place to play, and you get outmatched on both sides of the ball. That says something. Miami struggles against half-solid defenses. They haven't not even really good or even great defenses because they haven't played any. Wait until they play Ohio State, Tennessee, Texas, Indiana, Penn State, or even Notre Dame, who are 6 of the top 7 defenses in the country. Sorry, the other one, Army, I think they could beat. But look, as soon as they reach the playoffs, those are the teams who they're playing. All 6 of those teams are top 7 in defense in the country and are playoff teams. If Miami wants to beat one of them, they need to show that they can actually put up points and win against a top defense. Now, let's look at the other side, because here's another important number, 2. They have played 2 top 50 offenses. Because you're like, okay, well, they've only had 1 loss. All right, well, let me get into this even more. There are 2 top 50 offenses they've played against. Louisville, ranked 19, and Georgia Tech, ranked 47. Oh, so the only team they've played who has a top 50 defense and a top 50 offense was Georgia Tech. Oh, that's so interesting. Who have they lost to? Oh, yeah, Georgia Tech, who is 47th in total offense. It's crazy. And then Louisville got screwed over against Miami with that stupid scoop and score that got overturned. Okay, so now you're like, well, 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗶𝗲𝘀𝗀, why are you bringing this up? They only have 1 loss. Because if you compare, I dare someone to bring up Indiana here. Well, Indiana hasn't played anyone. All right. So here's the thing, right? First of all, Indiana hasn't lost a game. Miami has. Second of all, Indiana dominates week in and week out. I know this game against Michigan was a 5-point win, but Dante, you talked about this last week in College Football Rush. That game was a little dangerous because of Michigan's defense, right? Mm-hmm. They dominate week in and week out.
Good ass defense.
And they took it to them. They dominate week in and week out. Let's look at how Miami does, right? Not to mention Miami has a loss and Indiana doesn't, but Miami struggles to win games week in and week out. They barely beat Virginia Tech off of that stupid overturned call. They needed a comeback to beat Cal. Then, right, they had that other call that went in their favor against Louisville, and then they eventually dropped one to Georgia Tech.
And Dana
if you
said,
want to be one of the best teams, what was that?
Shout out to Dana. Dana said Georgia Tech has some solid wins this year, even if their overall schedule isn't there. And they've had some key injuries too, and they still find ways to win.
Georgia Tech is a very scrappy team. But if you're Miami, I give you no consideration to win a national championship, especially compared to undefeated teams like in Oregon, like in Indiana, right? These teams, if 1, you've lost a game already. 2, you haven't played anyone good, and the only half-decent teams you struggle against, right? And 3, if you just struggle no matter who you play. That's the difference between them and Indiana, aside from the loss, is Indiana dominates who they play, right? They dominate them.
Can I make one point before you continue to cook, sir? I'm gonna make a scorching hot take, and I'm sure that you guys are gonna agree with me. Missouri beats Miami right now.
Nate Noel healthy? Yes.
If everybody's healthy, then yeah.
Yeah, if Nate Noel, Brady Cook, and Luther Burden are healthy, because I know Brady Cook didn't play this past week. I know Nate Noel has been out. A healthy Mizzou beats a healthy Miami. Yes.
That's
and
the
I
title
think
of
that
this
Mizzou
video.
are fraudulent. But look, I bring this forward because
People are going to be like, why's Mizzou here?
I just don't see it with Miami. They need to beat teams convincingly like they did to Duke and not lose to teams of similar strength to Duke. Right?
I don't know who saw the film study last night. I think we got into the second quarter and I started getting a little bit sleepy. But Cam Ward was not surprising, man. He was not. You can't start out these games against these good teams down the road and expect to win. Your second half heroics are not going to be there. I'm just letting you know, brother. Teams are way too damn good to be like, oh, we're just going to let Miami slip through their cracks. Because you know what? Desperate times call for desperate measures. And somebody like Kirby Smart is going to put a stamp on his win and have his defense rushing 4 deep the whole time on you and trying to see if you really made it of that good stuff. Pause.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I just don't see it because you even bring up like Penn State or Texas, right? I don't know, especially Penn State because they have they've been said to have an easy schedule. Even same thing with Texas. Penn State has one close win, USC. That's already fewer close wins than Miami has. They handily beat Wisconsin, Washington, and Illinois, which are arguably better than a lot of the teams Miami has beaten. Their only loss, a close loss to Ohio State. There is a big difference in having a close loss at home against Ohio State compared to losing in Atlanta to Georgia Tech. No offense to Georgia Tech. Then you compare Texas. They thoroughly beat Oklahoma, Michigan, Florida, Mississippi State. Close win over Vandy, right? Only loss to Georgia, who is another highly ranked team, not Georgia Tech. So sure, both Texas and Penn State have also generally weaker resumes, but they're both significantly better than Miami. I don't see it with Miami. They have talented players, right? Cam Ward is putting up big numbers. Xavier Restrepo is proving to be one of the best wide receivers in the country. They have a beast in the backfield in Damian Martinez. They have some solid pass rushers.
Damian Martinez.
But
that's a legendary story on ECG.
You can't convince me that this Miami team can make a natty run right now. They haven't shown anything to prove it to me, right? Everything at this point saying Miami could even make it to a natty or win a playoff game is either if they are matched up against BYU, which they don't have the best defense, or beat someone, right? At this point, it's just theory, and I don't like just going off of theory. Miami has not convinced me with what they've that they're a good playoff team with what they've been given. So I think this take is completely silly. I don't see how Miami can make a run. They have not showed anything.
Danny Kanell should be ashamed of himself for being a Florida State alum. Making these blasphemous mistakes like this. And especially having somebody like Miami in his championship. Didn't he lose against Miami?
Nasty work.
We're going to hold on. Let's pull up the resume real quick while I play my music. We got to do some investigation.
He said, I'm in.
Hold on. We got to see if Danny Kanell lost to Miami. Because I can't remember back that far. Let's see. Danny Kanell. No. We need his college stats. I don't need none of that NFL stuff, brother. Oh, he was the backup during our national championship with Charlie Ward. All right, let's see. I'm in. Now I need him as a starter. I need to get all that work. There we go. Florida State.
No, he did not. He did not.
He beat Miami both times?
Didn't. I don't think he played against Miami.
Yes. He lost. Let's see. Danny Kanell lost against them one time. What was the other one? So he lost 20 to 34. What about the year before? Sorry guys, we're doing some investigative work because this dude is a fucking fraud. I had enough of him. All right, let's see. Florida State. That was 93. This was 94. Florida State, 1993. He got saved by the bell. What is his obsession with Miami? I need an explanation, good sir. This is nasty work. So this 94. They lost 20-34, and in 95. Oh wait, this is the one I need to look at. Okay, he won the second year. His life is saved. 41-17. He beat him. All right. But still, you split with Miami and like this, Damon? For this? Hold on. I got that on the soundboard too.
For this, Damon? Go back.
Do y'all think my Indiana beats Georgia right now? Trying to see something. Yes.
Yes.
Right now, yes. Like I just said in the comments, Georgia's only played like a handful of good halves of football this year. Listening to some '𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗶𝗲𝘀 show, and I agree with what he said. You look
outside of his take on Colorado, I agree with most of the things he says. No cap.
Second half against Clemson, first half against Texas, second half against Bama, right? Those are really good halves of football for Georgia. Outside of that, though, between the Kentucky game, the first half against Bama, the second half against Texas, the Ole Miss game, they look very beatable because their offense can't drive down the field. They're good on the short fields, right? But if you ask them to start a drive on your own 25, go down there and get us a score, more often than not, they're not going to score. Like you're asking, I think that both A&M and LSU could beat Georgia right now. Maybe not 10 times.
I think South Carolina can beat Georgia.
Right. I think Georgia is a good team, but lately they haven't looked like a great team at all. So
Christian asks, does Indiana beat Miami? I think they beat the dog crap out of Miami.
Yeah, because defense.
And the thing about Indiana is they kill you by 1,000 cuts, man. Any receiver on that team can score. Any running back can score. Shoot, if Curtis Ward gets hurt and Taven Jackson comes in, it don't matter which quarterback is in. And their defense is all solid. Yeah, bro. Basically, Indiana can beat anybody except Oregon, in my opinion. And it's hard to say even that. I need okay, let's put it like this. So they already beat Michigan, right? Indiana plays Ohio State when? Next week?
Next week.
Correct.
So if Indiana goes in and donkey slaps Ohio State, are we going to say that they're better than Oregon?
I will, but I don't think they'll jump Oregon.
They're not going to because the committee already says they don't care about margin of wins.
That and Oregon has that win over Boise.
Well, what we're saying, guys, is Danny Kanell is, I hate to call somebody an idiot that probably knows more about this. Well, definitely knows more about this game than all of us, but like this is a terrible take. Everybody takes the L. It is what it is. Especially all the people that thought Bo Nix was going to suck.